There is a fallen giant now struggling in the championship. As that's right, Pompey are now in the relegation zone, fighting for their life under Musinho. So he's going to get the sack right here, and the new manager coming in has strict objectives. As I said moments ago, a fallen giant Portsmouth are. They were really good in the past with Harry Redknapp, with Sol Campbell, Defoe. So I think a fallen giant needs fallen players to help it rebuild. As we're bringing Portsmouth back to the top, only signing failed Wonderkid players. As yes people, here we go, Portsmouth is on your screen, and I mean failed Wonderkids, not entirely Wonderkids. We're going to rebuild everyone who is failed, because John Swift is a man that did come back to Portsmouth after a little bit of time away. Chaplin the same. Swanson was on the books of Arsenal, now finding himself at the second level. We've got Callum Lang, who did okay. Regan Poole is another one. He's got an in-game face because he was at Manchester United, as this was a theme of rebuilds last year, failed Wonderkids, where we can only sign players that haven't lived up to their potential in this FIFA or past. But the first season we can't sign anyone. As you can see in the championship, we sit 19th, just above Swansea City, who also just going to rebuild, and our first aim is to keep these up. At the moment they're finishing 22nd. They are down there. Sheffield United beat them, I'm pretty sure, and the aims are actually to finish mid-table after last year, where the team went ahead and survived rather comfortably, I'd say, in the end due to their home form. But results haven't gone their way. They got a big win against Millwall, but a couple of defeats, as you can see. A really bad September month, and rely upon this 21-year-old who we can actually keep at the team, Adrian Segacic. Never really heard of him, same as Jan Min Hyuk, who is on loan. We've only got one goal out of Colby Bishop, which is disappointing. These are the players we're going to rebuild with in Season 1, though, because we cannot make signings. We can, however, change positions to try and keep this team in the league. I want to go with wingers, and our players are rather versatile. And I've got to say, this team is heavily based upon, is it Australian players? They should be down here. We've got the Cal Freezy lookalike, Matthews, as well as Segijic, who is in the squad. We've got Jacob Murphy's brother, Josh Murphy, who I know gets plenty of assists. And we are going to change formation because we're a new manager replacing Musinho. And yes, it's rather basic, but the 4-2-1-3. Sometimes you've just got to get players that fit the system, as that's going to be the shape we're going with inside forwards. We need all the goals we could possibly get. We're going with this team with Callum Lang in it, Chaplin actually over to Jejic, whilst he does train to be in that position. Murphy on the right, Bishop up front. We've got Devlin in the defence, and Josh Knight, who made the move from Peterborough. I would like to use Poole because of his ex-Man United days, technically making him a failed Wonderkid. In my eyes, he has stepped down, and we've only got 3 million to spend. Another rule is regarding the academy, as we can't use it at all. We've got a 4-star, 3-star, and when you look inside, there is players like Isaac Bullock, is players like Harry Field. But the only faith we have with young players is training ones with coaches that we currently have in the squad. And then next year, it's on to the Wonderkids that have failed. Oh, wow. And that'll do. That'll do tremendously so. We've just tweaked the tactics and got Pompey to 12th. Health is wealth, and we're looking very healthy in this. Sheffield Wednesday, Derby and Oxford going down. We would like to sign from them, of course, if they've got failed Wonderkid players. And I know one has a technically failed Wonderkid over at Liverpool many years ago. And I do want to go with some better well-known players. We just can't sign till next season, as we've got Hull winning the FA Cup and us losing to Bristol City in round 3. That's not all bad. With City getting their revenge in the Carabao, beating Chelsea, and using live points, we were already out of that trophy entirely. How's the team looking, though? That's the most important thing. Okay, so we've got growth big time to our goalkeeper in the Austrian Schmidt. Won't have to sign there again. We've got Murphy, we've got Chaplin, who unfortunately was only on loan. So Tezic comes in. We can put Regan Poole in. Another rule we have as well, because these are failed Wonderkids I'm trying to revive, as well as this Pompey squad in general, I can actually change their potential. So hopefully they can reach it. For example, Regan Poole himself. Let's hope to grow him as Zach Swanson. I am changing into a CDM. And Marlon Pack into a centre-back. The captain I don't really want to use. With Adrian Tezic when I want to use. Now 22 at a 70 overall, which is okay. But wingers I really want to use as Josh Murphy. We've gone ahead and changed him as well to a 75. He's 31. And I've got a winger in mind for next season as our top scorer. Was only on loan, so we definitely need to replace out there. our second top scorer was the striker. And if we want to stay in this division again next season, we might need another one. So make sure you're buckled up, subscribe to the channel, and leave a like on the video. We're after 70,000 subscribers, as when we go to the budget overview, we've got 6 million, doubled our budget just by going into the next season. With objectives to fight for promotion, now I think we should just be surviving again, because in order to get these failed Wonderkids in, we're going to have to profit with a bit of money to enable us to afford. Now the tactics I think we've got spot on from the season 1 starting point, as Paul is now on Welsh duty. That's nice, as we swap Varel in because he's younger than Ogilvy. Definitely still need to work on that CDM position, although we've got Swanson on the bench, who I'm going to put into the 11, and then Colby Bishop. Now, I wouldn't mind him as a backup, but we need our first choice to be actually better than him. And first choice I've alluded to, in striker and on the wing, because I've got decent wingers in mind, but then again, we have Josh Murphy, who at 31 we could try and sell. I know he's a really good rating, but we need to invest that money. So onto the list he goes, and Colby Bishop I'll cheekily put on the transfer list just to see what happens there. Same with Josh Knight, because we've got a lot of decent centre-backs we don't need, as this is the first man. You can see his potentials all the way down. It is Ryan Brewster. The man was at Chelsea, I believe, and Liverpool, but now finds himself in League One because, don't forget, Derby were relegated. So I'm going to take the chance on him, try and revive this man's career as the starting striker at Portsmouth, and I think I will keep Colby Bishop now because the game should play this man first anyway. He is a little bit younger and he is the same rating as him, with a crucial role in this team as a big bid in for Josh Knight, allowing us to say night to him as he's going over to play in League On. A great move for the big man, but it's the other big man we do want out. I'm sorry to say, Josh Murphy, but 4.75 million. I'd rather invest that into younger players, or should I say failed younger players, as there's definitely a few at Sheffield United, but I'm going to go overseas for this next one, in a player that actually was on the books of Barcelona, and he's still only 23, but Yusuf Demir, since he made the move to Galatasaray, he's been trapped playing in Turkey, and this man had the potential to be the next Lamine Yamal. He didn't live up to it, and it's kind of cheap. Only £2 million, and that gives us money to put elsewhere into what I think a true quality CDM, allowing Swanson to go to the bench. It's 6 million in the budget, and the next man's definitely forgotten because he has fallen so downhill to the point where I think a lot of people would have forgotten he was Tottenham's most expensive player at the time he actually joined them. This man is Tanguy Ndombele, a man who I've just got to change his position to a defensive midfielder. He is 30. What's his stats look like? Okay, the dribbling is definitely there. Next to Dozzle, who's gone up 4. Okay, we've really got some good ratings here in and around this Pompey squad. Schmidt at an 82, a +6, and I think that all comes from the coaching. As I saw, Brewster was a 75, but then he's not amongst the goals. So we've got Callum Lang, Demir to a 71. Has he actually gone and played, despite being second on goals? Well, I'll take 2 weeks to change him. Boat comes in the defense over Shaughnessy, and there is Farrell. Really good attacking lineup. It's basically just this right-hand side now that could be stopping Portsmouth getting into the playoff places. We were plenty of points off, but it's an improvement. It is 10th position, above the likes of Sheffield United, Wrexham, Norwich City. I think we've done rather good, and we've saved a lot of money, as there go the bottle jobs. Losing to Brighton as a semi-final was on the horizon, but 8-9 to a coast rival in Bournemouth is painful, as it could have put us into a semi-final, and Brighton might back-to-back finales. What is going on there? And what is going on with us losing to Cambridge? The U's, as Sunderland win the playoffs, which is where I want to be. Usually I go by the 3 rule of rebuild, survive, and then go for promotion, which, let's not lie, with the players we have, none of these loanees we've got to try and do in season 3, and that might mean replacing the right back Devlin and maybe get some coaches in as £9 million. Sorted. Right, that is a budget I think we can get this team promoted with if we spend it. And specifically on this right-hand side, but Yusuf Demir changes to a right wing, and that's a 73 rating. So he is on the come-up. With Schmidt, like I said, a really good goalie, we should be pretty fine. with the 2 Austrian players in the team. Now, I had an idea for another left winger, but man, the guy we've already got is really, really good, and we do have some good bench players still. I want to find a loophole to sell to make money for this squad. Yusuf Demir's going nowhere. Regan Pull's also going nowhere. That's a big offer for Jacob Farrell. As do Gilvente have any other failed Wonderkids maybe hiding in there? Nope, I was going to hope there's maybe Renato Sanchez hiding for us. So I'm going to have to turn it down. I do want to keep our left back here because he was pretty strong. And we're loaning out players like Harry Blair or Harvey. I'm sorry. And we're selling Jordan Archer alongside Leroux, and that's a little bit of money. 3 million from the South African, plus Callum Lang. He's going to Burnley for almost 10 mil, giving us the pleasure of 20 million, so maybe we can get a failed player. And now the cam position's opened up, I was looking at Facundo Pellistri. For the left-hand side, this man, of course, came through at Old Trafford, was maybe going to be the next Garnacho, but didn't pan out, and now he's cost 10 million in the Championship for that cam position, and it shows I'm not afraid of spending money, because the next player was on loan at Rangers, Max Aarons from Bournemouth, who just beat us in a quarterfinals, and that's the team we're going into Season 3 with. And there we have it, we are in the Premier League, and even sweeter, we beat Southampton, the rivals, to winning the league. Hull City, Wolves down in 5th. They should have failed Wonderkids, Norwich and Sheffield, but it's Pompey that win the title. In the 3rd season, get in. Now, we didn't have a cup run like before, and we did make a lot of money to practically buy that title. Nottingham Forest beating us in the FA Cup. The Carabao should be different. Birmingham, that's brilliant. And just below that, Grimsby Town losing to Shrewsbury, who we beat this year in the Carabao on our road to beating Manchester United. I had to get that mention in there as an 86. Schmitting goal is amazing. We've got Tanguy Ndombele, who's good. Pellistri, Brewster, now an 80 rating. Demir's caught up. Essentially, we do have a Premier League squad here. Plenty of growth from the coaches, as I did get more of them in. And Facundo Pellistri, 27 goals from the Uruguayan ex-United player, which goes and obviously wins him the Championship Player of the Year. And let's face it, this squad is one that shouldn't get even relegated, never mind just getting promotion. The defense could do with some work, as we've got Aarons, I think it's pronounced Aarons, not Aaron's, Regan Poole, Boat, who is an OG player, so we technically can keep him, and Farrell, who's 25. Dozzle in the midfield, however, is 29, with Tanguy Ndombele, 31. Could do with some work in the centre of the park, as the budget has just risen to £51 million, and we still have to find failed Wonderkid players, or just failed players in general, as mid-table expected from us. We've spent them 3 seasons really digging deep in bringing Portsmouth back to the Premier League, where they had their success. But now it needs to go even further, because there's a lot of very decent teams in this division. As no offense to Hull City, but they're the team I'm actually aiming for to beat, as this is another defender I thought about, Axel Twanzebe, another ex-Manchester United player who I'm literally just bringing on board as a backup for our bench, because I might need to get rid of some players in order to aim for them big names, because yes, we need a midfielder, and I am going to sign a defender. Which defensive position, I still don't know. But the reason I'm actually threatening is because the contracts are running out and the money is getting more expensive. The last 2 players we've signed have been these right backs, and they're stealing a living. 6 million took from a 3.1 mil signing. That is not very good, and we also don't have a fully good bench yet, with the likes of Waddingham, Swift. I mean, Swanson's learned to cope there, alongside the purchase of more coaches, because I need these failed Wonderkids getting better as time goes on, as I'm going back for another ex-La Masia player. In this man, Ricky Puig, all the play styles does look more attacking though, as what I'm gonna risk is bumping this midfield up with Dozzle and Ndombele to have this man in more comfortably, coming across over the pond from America, giving us much more than we bargained for. And you know what? The defense, I might actually let go, so I'm going to have Puig in the middle with Ndombele, the forgotten duo. A duo which I didn't expect this from. A 7th place Premier League finish in our 1st season back here in potentially ages. Years it's been since Portsmouth were 7th in the Prem. We've got Bournemouth just below us, Spurs and Manchester United. Great league finish, but it would be better if we actually got a trophy to go with it, which we don't do, losing to Bournemouth. At least we did finish one place above them this year, but they don't half like stopping us in the cup competitions this year. It's gone from Brighton to Newcastle doing very well. Arsenal beat us there in the Carabao, and I actually stopped the spending after Ricky Puig. It cost more than I thought, and again, it's another player huge on the wage bill. With the rest of the team being great around him, we do have Sajic hitting his prime, Ryan Brewster, Demir, Max Aarons. Very interesting to see how changing the team and the tactics, moving the players a bit forward, has really helped in the growth and style. As a non-Dembele, he changes to an 86 when he goes back to a central midfielder because his dribbling's been growing despite being in defensive mid, taking him now one rating less than Facundo Pellistri, who's gone to an 87. Someone who's not scoring as many goals in the league this year, however, with Puig getting the same, and the top scorer, Ryan Brewster. And I've got to say, damn you, Newcastle, because I believe they finished above us, and their cup win in the FA Cup knocked us out of Europe. Should have really been qualifying that year, and this year the budget goes down, so we needed to get into Europe for the money. 39 million, in which we have to improve this team and defence. We've got a 31-year-old now, a 32-year-old goalkeeper. We have got to watch them ages. Max Aarons isn't very young, and same with Tanguy Ndombele. He might have just become an 86, but he's 32-year-old, as we could do with another winger. As John Swift, he's done. I'm sorry. I've kept giving him a contract because he kept actually wanting to sign one up. And then our other two wingers, Franco Umer from Crystal Palace and Harvey Blair, who we tried to loan out, just hasn't had the growth I thought. I thought I might be able to keep them as backups, but they've just not been good enough. As who's in the Premier League this year? I'm going to look this way round. We've got Leeds still here. They had a failed Wonderkid I might have chased after. As one team that's gone down is Crystal Palace. Not what I expected at all, and I guess you could call Kamada a bit of a flop there. He was really good at the club before, and Eddie Nketiah, 100% when he was on loan at Leeds from Arsenal. Everyone thought he was going to be good for the Gunners, but then turned out not to be. Ismail Assar potentially could have had a higher ceiling, now playing his football in the Championship. Adam Wharton, the same. But let's face it, Adam Wharton cannot be classed as a failed Wonderkid. Plus we do have Ricky Puig, and I think we need a winger over Eddie Nketiah. Maybe an ex-England international that is playing his football over at Everton. But here he's at Manchester City, and he actually only cost 8 million. Jack Grealish, yes, I know he's an England international, but he has a play style. He will only be coming off the bench. And let's face it, he did go to Manchester City for £100 million, so he has got to be classed as failed. Him and maybe Eddie Nketiah now, who we technically can afford, could be two huge signings here to help this Portsmouth team potentially get into Europe. As look at the ages of them though. Good players, but then again, high wages, despite the money and the cheapness they did sign for. Oh dear. Look at the age of the squad. And you know what? There is no better time to get into Europe, in specific the Champions League, when we've got some players getting older. Pompey break the mould. Now we do finish above Chelsea clearly, and we did just change Ndombele. We've got Pellistri, we've got Brewster, all on the increase because of that dynamic potential we had switched on. And guess what? Actually, I don't know if this is all a good thing. We win the FA Cup, clearly. A 2-1 over Liverpool, which adds a trophy to our cabinet, but I don't think will put us in Europe or the Champions League, because sometimes it actually knocks you out of it. And the Carabao, as you can see, Liverpool get revenge on us, or we got revenge on them. It looks like we're the big two powerhouses in English football at the moment. As how did our English guys get on? Our signings should be weaker, and we do have two 90 rated players. What a journey Nicholas Schmidt's come on, 92 at 33. However, the men I wanted to have a look at, Eddie Nketiah doing okay. However, Jack Grealish at 34, -4, he might retire soon and potentially screw us over a little bit, but his dribbling is really good. increased that decrease to a 78 by changing him to a winger. Despite the 52 pace, we've got Demir, we've got Segicic ahead of him, so I'm not worried. And this squad is fantastic anyway. We've got Poole as the captain at an 87, an OG who was here at the start, same as Boat and Farrell, Segicic and Schmidt as Yusuf Demir, our top scorer, who did go ahead and grab the Premier League Player of the Season. How interesting is that? As we've got Tanguy and Ndombele getting older, so Dozzle, I'm still trying to train as a centre mid. Please hurry up. Same as Zach Swanson, we need cover in that centre of the park, as this is an unusual thing. Now we are signing only failed players. Now we've got to the Champions League, which, yes, it's actually put us in. We've got to win that, the FA Cup, and finish in the Champions League again. However, it has got harder because we can only sign failed players, which are obviously low rated, and we need higher rated players. To go further, we've got the money to pay, just need them to show face to the world, make themselves known, and we can go and poach them. Apart from that, I'm doing every single thing in my power to make this team still grow, to help the team keep on growing, as my next option is a common one. If he's actually still in the game, I think he might not be, you know. No sign anywhere of Renier, but when I'm looking through this list right here, Malcolm, he was on the books of Barcelona, and we'll do me as a bench option, because I think that's the best we can actually do, bench players. Trust the 11 we currently have in this team. He could do if Grealish isn't feeling up to it, as we could change a defender. Maybe make Dozzle a centre-back. We've got Malcolm there, Grealish and Nketiah. In my opinion, that is perfect. 80 rated. Devlin can go there. There's maybe one big signing somewhere. There has to be someone who can help Pompey reach the Champions League finale potentially. Or who am I kidding? Win the Champions League. And I've just gone for the best player on my list. The second man of the cavalry has arrived in this man, Francisco Trincao. A lot of playstyles, and you might say he's doing well. But this man was on the books of Wolves, absolutely flopped there. So I'm counting him as a flop. Let's allow it, because we're pushing for the Champions League. And we need to be able to find good players. Pellistri is now a 94. We found him. Two of the OGs are up here. Rian Brewster as well with that 92 shooting, 89 pace. Back to his Liverpool best, but our top scorer was Adrian Segicic. Or Segicic, as one thing I do want to do is check the bids that came in for these failed Wonderkids. Earlier on in the season, we've got Max Aarons. That's a weird one. We had 151.9 for Poole. And Manchester United chucking 200 mil at an ex-Liverpudlian, which is madness. As speaking of Liverpudlians, they're at the top. Manchester City in second. We finished third. It will be UCL again. For us, as we win a Community Shield, I never like to put that in the cabinet. It's too big of a trophy, and this rivalry is definitely not lying down. We took one of their ex-Wonderkids, made him better. Now Liverpool beat us in another final of the FA Cup, and then the other one, both teams not in it, it's the North London Derby, won by Arsenal. But guess what? Liverpool knocked us out in round 3. This rivalry could go all the way. If we reach the UCL final and we play Liverpool, that would be hilarious, but they're nowhere to be seen. As we finish 5th, getting Anderlecht straight through into a decent round of 16 game against the Belgian Giants, but then we don't get lucky with Paris. But then again, we smash them with Brighton, narrowly beaten by Lombardia there. Before we move on to Real Madrid, we beat them, Barcelona also out, and the failed Wonderkids have reached the final against Inter. Now, do they have any? I am going to do a very quick look, as this is the team what I'm looking at. Aarons must have not played much, but wow, this squad. It's a mix of in real life Portsmouth players who are doing decent, and their team isn't failed Wonderkids, it's actual real life ones. As Old Trafford seems like a bit of an advantage for us staying in England, but we've got to try and win this game here, and that is not the way to go about it. By the way, if you was wondering what the Wonderkids were in that team we just saw on paper, Mika Gotts, I believe they had someone in the defence as well who I've already forgotten, and Farrell is one of our Wonderkids. That's a brilliant cross towards the back post, where Demir has literally put it out for a throw-in. That's kind of shameful, I can't lie. And Susic was a shrewd signing by them. They're kept on side by Farrell, going forward for the ball as he actually goes and wins it there into Puig. And Pellistri, he's got blistering pace down the middle. Now Brewster, the chip over the top towards Demir. If he carries on the way he started, he'll be off the field in no time, because that's 2 terrible shots. Ricky Puig is definitely pulling the strings, and look at the passing. It's always trying to look for Yusuf Demir. Regan pull with the simple header into Segacic with the ball forward. Now onto Brewster again, and Brewster with the pace. He just needs a little cut inside here. He's got it. Not a great pass towards Bastoni, who easily reads that path and left us open at the back. But we like to play this one-touch football. Palistri, this has to be a goal. It is going to be Ryan Brewster. I tell you what, he took it on early, but the failed wonder kid from Liverpool is not failing here at Portsmouth. You can see the delight on my face there. Fantastic goal, terrible replay. Just had to drive it into the bottom left corner, beating the now wonder kid Restes of a French club, I believe he's at. Now we're just going to get the ball passed around, and Ndombele into Demir. He tries to go for the low-driven finesse shot. I never try. By the way, if you're a fan of the channel, that is a joke. It's one of my favourite shots to do. Max Aarons reading the ball. Demir's even offside from that move. I think the only way you describe his performance so far is a stinky one, as Farrell needs to get around his man. That's robbed by Fratesi. Just keep the ball in play if we can, or just go again very quickly as we can. Ricky Puig on the edge of the box. He just decided to run straight into Bastoni. Segacic down the line into Ricky Puig. Puig needs to get that back into Ryan Brewster now. I think a second goal could happen. Demir! Oh my days! How is that man not scoring? Wasting everything, but at least he's not invisible like Facundo Palistri. Haven't seen much of the cam, and I put a false back roll on Max Aarons because it was his favourite one. He's let a bit of space there for Tazolis, who played with him at Norwich City, I believe. Fratesi on the edge of the box. Lautaro! What a wasted chance. Who could have had his last chance of the game, because Tanguy and Ndombele reading the ball very well. Palistri through the gap. It's on to Demir, who still can't score. Whatever he tries, but from the corner. We're into added time right here. Max Aarons wins that header. Ndombele wins that ball into Palistri. He's been invisible in the game. Facundo Palistri with a quick footwork. He could have played it into Demir. Facundo Palistri! He wanted to show up. And he has done at his old home of Old Trafford, where he did get scouted. He goes and scores the goal, which wins Portsmouth the Champions League title. With the failed Wonder Kids going and hammering this, the trophy lifter is Regan Paul. And no, I said it differently, but I've never been sure on his name in particular. Plus he's ex-Lincoln City, so I don't really care as much as I should. As if you've enjoyed this video and you do want to see a bit more of the failed Wonder Kids, I have a list that I've put together new for this new year. So drop it down in the comments if you want to see it. And once you're down there, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave a like.